Welcome to the afternoon session. The first speaker of the session is Gabor Kiss, and he will talk to us about the open source ecology.
Hello, welcome. My name is Gabor Kiss. It's a Hungarian name, but you can call me Gabriel if you want. I'm just waiting for the first slide, so. Okay. So, I'm an architect, a 3D graphic artist, a programmer, a musician, a writer, and social media activist. I'm one of the founding member of the European unconditional basic income movement. And I'm also a father of a child, so I'm feeling responsible myself for the future of the next generations. I'm also representing here almost 50 people from our work groups, visionaries, futurists, engineers, architects, gardeners, IT and social media experts, and enthusiastic volunteers. We have more than 2,000 registered members in our online communities worldwide. And there are actually millions out there, if I'm correct, with the same thinking. We confronted with the facts, the end of social safety and infinite growth in our world, the collapse of the market economy, huge inequality, political and immigrant crisis, and above all, the climate change. So I think we all know these issues here. But now we have an ability to work out a new paradigm of living. So we became hopefully more conscious about the situation. We are not alone in this work because the UN presented the Sustainable Development Goals a few weeks ago. The SDGs, the 17 objectives, aim to build a better planet for the future, from eradicating hunger to preserve the ecosystem. Why these goals are great? Many people are very, very skeptical about the realization of these goals in the long term. We think that these problems cannot be solved on a global or local level of governance alone, especially not in the market economy system. Why? Because what governments can do for us is to create comprehensive laws for our benefits, but sometimes it's not enough without wide understanding our world's complexity and where the problems are many and connected but locally different. In addition, affluent special interests have too much power in the government, and the public has too little. For example, in the US, a Gallup survey shows this year that the Americans continue to name the government as the #1 issue before the unemployment and the economy. And the US is just the tip of the iceberg. And let's take the economy. The market economy is inherently unsustainable. It reached the peak level of our planet's ecosystem. And the lack of feedbacks became obvious, which could ensure the reproducing of the finite resources in the long run to work. The standard capitalist theory is virtually silent on the close relationship between economic activity and sustainability. But there is a new way of thinking here that has brought together previously distant fields like chemistry, biology, social science, urban planning, and so on. And now it's challenging the standard economic theory. It is defining the Earth as a complex system of interrelationships, a symbiotic system. From this higher perspective, we can see three pillars in order of importance: the environment, society, and economy. Our responsibility is to detect if we are in the wrong way and reverse the dependencies. Today, we think that the economic interest can be placed in front of the society and the environment, which is only an externality in this equation. In a real sustainable world, we have to adjust the social conditions to the environment, just like the economic policies, that is able to serve the needs of the society. So, based on the trend analysis, we can say that if we want to save our civilization, and don't worry about the planet, it will recover soon, but we must gradually return to science-based, harmonic, stable, and inherently sustainable economic model. This, like all the previous economic revolutions, just like the Neolithic or the Industrial or the Green Revolution, can emerge only in a grassroots initiative with a prominent role of informing people and shaping the values. Now let's see our project. It's the Ambiente project. It's not a radical new invention, but an obvious solution for many problems mentioned earlier. Sometimes a bigger impact can be achieved by simply connecting the dots. It's especially true if it meets basic human necessities. So Ambiente now is a fast-growing, sustainable, decentralized, non-profit, and holistic socio-economic model. If it's too abstract, we try to simplify it to understand by anyone. So we created a new lifestyle for the 21st century, focusing on households. A laterally scaled socioeconomic model begins at the tiniest piece of the society and the physical world, and that's the individuals, families, and the households surrounding them. To make our model cost and time effective, we bring domestic developments under one roof. It's also a sharing economy model. If you think that in modern times, especially in large cities, to get food and water in a reliable form, or household objects, furniture, and so on, it's subject to a lot of conditions. So Ambiente was born as a do-it-yourself community-based solution package for the 21st century, which provides share of know-how, resources, products, goods, services, and of course food and water for the members. And as an open source model, it offers business plans for free, as well as full transparency. Why open source, you can ask. If anyone, yeah, open source. Why open source? Okay. If anyone can participate in development, a small community can easily grow, and the technological breakthroughs appear way faster than, or instead of, the standard patent-protected research and development environments. There were, of course, lots of pioneers on this road. We have to mention the first open source ecology project from Marcin Jakubowski, the Italian Massimo Banzi with the Arduino project, which is an open source electronics project. The free software movements back in the 80s, and later from the US, Lawrence Lessig and the Creative Commons, and the list goes on. In an open source model, members give their own creativity, resource, and experience to the commons. It's a way of self-expression. No one owns the project or the output. It's free for anyone to use. And this kind of social production is based on cooperation, mutual help. We asked ourselves, what if we are calling people from different fields of life to work together and open source almost everything in a household? It's obvious that we have few key areas emerged in the system with a holistic approach. Let's see a few examples. The housing problem. More and more people around the world, a growing number of people, have job and income, but they can't afford appropriate housing. In other cases, maybe we're just looking for new inventions. Either way, ambient provides cheap and well-designed living for individuals, families, and communities. Collaborative architects make it simple to customize the blueprints that we can share with each other. We are looking forward and very excited about the contour crafting, which is the future of home constructing. The smart homes. We established common interfaces and APIs in a smart home space that is really, really fragmented. We need web-based, cross-platform, easy-to-use interfaces to serve our needs of ease, security, and energy efficiency. Our collaborating partners are working with us through their open source division of products and services. Renewable technologies today tend to go open source. Good examples of it, the few printable wind turbines and solar flower projects we engage. It may be a good time to go solar or wind if you want to reduce your consumption. In addition, there is the energy storage problem. My company in South Korea is supplying the project with a nanotech product called AccuFresh that raises the charging ability of lithium-ion batteries and maintains an optimal battery life. We can spend less on food with homegrown vegetables. And at the same time, we can reduce the amount of land or soil or water which we can use. A smart hydro and aeroponic garden can give your plants a voice, make care recommendations, or send you reminders. I'm already designed a 3D printed aeroponic garden. Just like our partners, they are designing high efficiency modular indoor gardens for people living in the cities. New 3D printers are capable of printing in any size and shapes. And it's a tremendous benefit for interior designers or individuals to furnish their homes. There are millions and millions of free, available, downloadable 3D models on the internet. And the small but growing number of it are printable products. Our goal is to make them available for homeowners and help them to customize these blueprints with open source softwares and open source printers. Huge economic, environmental, health, and security benefits are expected from the coming sensor age. Big data, useful insights, as we know. We have partners, startups, who are developing open source health diagnostic devices affordable for anyone. And we have connections with several universities in Europe to involve them in water and air pollution managements in rural areas and cities, using open source electronics and sensors, of course. The project is also focusing on open source hardware that may be useful in robotics applications and research. We see three directions in household robotics: the education, home appliances, and entertainment. Robots will not move around the house tomorrow, but who knows? We are on it. But they are getting smarter and better every year, so we can start small and build step by step. My company in South Korea is playing a very active role in the field of nanotechnology with several household applications from clothing, cosmetics, even to surface coating. The open source paradigm in nanotechnology can both accelerate innovation and public investment in the field. This way, the full potential of nanotechnology will drive the next industrial revolution, where the matter can be manipulated as easy now as softwares today. Why we need credits in our system? Just think about it. Growing like cells, connecting each other, sharing the experiences. New communities can be integrated in the system which they can provide for energy to each other. They can do barters. They can try individual systems of financial settlements to balance each other, even in large distances in different countries. So we need a distributed database for financial transactions like Bitcoin to enable private blockchains with managed permissions. On our new website, we will share the blueprints, the planning process with version tracking, searchable building techniques, collaborative constructors, 3D printing hubs according to your locations. All of these with calculating the cost of your investment will be available on mobile. It can propose you a list of the best solutions in your region. It can be also a project organizer for communities. The open source approach, the model has certain legal risks. An idea may be later taken, patented, and sold for profit. To avoid this, we grant a non-exclusive license in all parts of this intellectual property with using Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 share-alike license. With this, you can remix, or if you remix or transform or build upon the material, you have to distribute your contributions under the same license as the original. Let me tell you, right after we published our ideas, immediately grabbed the imagination of people, including companies. Some of them has a very clear view about the third industrial revolution, but only few of them know how to engage in it to make a reliable profit. Why we think there's enough room to expand business interests, especially with an exponentially thinking. But keep in mind the following, and now I'm quote from Jeremy Rifkin. The Internet of Things is already boosting productivity to the point where the marginal cost of producing goods and services is nearly zero, making them nearly free. As a result, the corporate profits are drying up, the property rights are weakening, and the economy based on scarcity is slowly giving away to an economy of abundance. We are very proud to our partners to recognize it and adapt their business models to these changes. Our values. Is it possible to make communities self-regulable, or how to say? Is it possible to have self-regulation above states in these communities? Above states, yeah. If it's possible, we can make decision-making software, so liquid democracy softwares to have these communities. Because lots of issues cannot be solved with autonomous self-interest, but with deep collaboration in the network commons, which is playing a greater role complemented with government and market forces. 70 years ago, Mahatma Gandhi envisioned an ideal economy which is based on self-sustainable villages, producing their own tools and foods. The real revolution comes when the things we produce and the villages itself connect to the information, logistics, and energy internet, and which makes every village as a mini IoT infrastructure that can connect communities across regions. And when it happens, the economic paradigm changes. So that's the goal of the Ambiente project. Ambiente now is a non-profit registered association in Spain, in the Canary Islands. As we are heading to a new economic paradigm, we think that's the right business model or legal form. Our vision, or the project center's vision, to create commons-based peer production distinguish Ambiente from regular companies. It requires less finance and more social capital, and it requires the commons management in the commons management principles. We are making cooperation with local governments and the residents. In our case, for example, we have an agreement with the owner of the land to use it and share resources like water and food products, know-how, even the energy which you can produce locally from renewables. The electric car charging station is also free to use for anyone in the neighborhood. So we think that's the real sharing economy model. Oh, how to get how to get it back? Okay. Okay. Our manufactory, where we can produce almost everything we need, is extended with a 3D printing hub, a design studio, a chemical lab, and of course an education center organizing local or global MOOCs trainings. We are planning to operate our project centers as startup incubators all around the world. It's not working. Now I'm just pushing the button. Okay, now it's working. Okay, the financing can be through this project, through donations or EU tenders or private investments, and obviously through crowdfunding campaigns. In this case of micro-investments, we can offer a one-week course to engage in self-sustainable living, gardening, 3D printing, and cost-effective smart home design, and many more. To our investors and collaborating partners and people arriving to our courses, the accommodation is granted in our guest house section, so it can be an eco-holiday for you and for your friends or for your partners. Okay. As you see in the previous slides, you probably think that the Ambiente project could be a forerunner of something even much bigger thing. And as we created the open source ecology model, it seemed obvious to apply these solutions in a bit larger scale by calculating the suitable populations of sustainability and democratic control in a given area. How to make it. So building up project centers like Ambiente can easily help in designing and developing well-usable solutions for cities. So the Ambiente project now became to an open source division of Ketama Smart City project. It's again.
You told me to point at the station there rather than at the E.
All right.
It's not working yet?
No. It's a battery problem, no?
Is there any way to make it manually? That you say next and someone...
Next. Okay.
That would be nice.
It's obvious.
Good job! Because you didn't say next. That was the...
Okay. Please, next. 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 Okay. Oh, next. New one. So I will be short.
This should work.
Thank you. So the concept of the Internet of Things to increase efficiency and productivity suddenly begin to make sense in a city that is smart in its environment, people, mobility, economy, governance, and ultimately living. Next. Okay. Hundreds of new cities are expected to be constructed by 2050 to house about 3 billion of the world's populations. By displaying a high quality of life based on sustainability, we believe that the existence of Ketema can set a strong example in sustainable developing of smart cities, future cities. Next. Okay. At ketema.org, we gather to decide and discuss about almost every aspect to these future cities, infrastructures in society. Before we start the building process, of course. At this stage, our goal is to reach about 50,000 people prior to the platform launch. Next. Okay. The financing can now be through, same like the Ambienta, fundraising, crowdfunding, or private investment from people who wish to see major sustainable challenges in the future or in the system. Yeah, and also governments can help us to make these cities with respecting our desire to alternative governance and economy. And the last slide. Next, please. Okay. Surveys shows that billions of people are expected to move into cities in the next few decades. But regarding the or knowing the present conditions in cities, it will be a huge disaster for the planet. So the existence of small decentralized hubs like Envienta and smart cities, Ketema growing from it, can prove to the world that the large-scale collaboration and hard work can create places where everyone is valued and the environment is protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabor. Does anybody have any questions? Oh.
Hi. Have you already implemented the ecologic model somewhere? Have you already implemented some model in the world?
The first Ambienta project are in progress, so we are not ready. We have the area to build, we have the backend of our online communities, we have the blueprints to share, we have everything to start. We're almost there, but we need to finance this because it requires less finance and more social capital, but it needs finance. Yeah.
You mentioned South Korea is the place where you are implementing the first project. No.
No, I'm working for a company based in South Korea, as a nanotechnology company. But our project is based in Europe, and especially in the Canary Islands, because the climate is very, very good to build these things firstly.
Okay. Thank you, Gabor.